Hello, dear friends. Here we are. This is the Medium's Harvest by Emmanuel through Chico Xavier, a book that was published in Portuguese in 1961 in tribute to Kardec's Medium's book. And today we are here sharing with you firsthand the translation into English, which was the first third of the book by the Inner Enlightenment Spiritist Society, and the other 2/3 by Carlos Diaz and the efforts of the Spiritist Society of Virginia. What a joy! And here we are together. Yesterday we were studying chapter 23. Today's chapter 24. Believe it or not, chapter 24, based on item 220, and I'm opening it up to read to us. 220 in the Medium's book pertains to chapter 18. Chapter 18, actually chapter 17, and chapter 17 is about the development of mediums, which makes sense to us because the Medium's book is about the development of mediumship and a manual for mediums. And there is a set of questions and answers that Kardec asked the spirits, and through the mediums he received a message regarding the loss and suspension of mediumship, which is very interesting because people think mediumship appears, shows up figuratively, and then it stays forever. No. We may lose it, and we may have it suspended. So there is a set of questions and answers, and today we're going to have chapter 24 from the Medium's Harvest based on one question and answer that Kardec published in the Medium's book. Item 220, sub-item 16. How can humans perfect themselves through Spirit's teachings when they do not have the possibility of receiving such teachings directly, whether through themselves or through other mediums? Answer of the superior spirits to Kardec. Don't they have books, just as Christians have the gospel? In order to practice the morals of Jesus, Christians do not need to hear the word straight from the Master's own mouth. This is wisdom. It's like science. I don't need to talk to Einstein in person to understand his findings. I read the articles. I study the books. Like, for example, Darwin. Oh, but how am I going to understand the studies of Darwin if he's discarnated? Well, read the books, read the articles. Same for Spiritism. Yeah, I can improve myself by listening to the teachings of the spirits that were published in hundreds of books. By now we have thousands of Spiritist books. Right? So what does Emmanuel say in that regard? Because Kardec brings about, you see how Emmanuel teaches us to what we call in psychoanalysis, the analysis of the discourse. When we are studying psychology, one of the subjects is to learn to analyze the discourse of people, because not necessarily people say what they mean or mean what they say. There is what we say in between the lines. So Jacques Lacan was one of the thinkers in psychoanalysis who observed the analysis of discourse and put together the theory to understand it, the unconscious into the discourse. Kardec, when he is asking this question, he's expressing to us what many people allege, what they claim. How can I perfect myself if I cannot talk directly to the medium, or if I don't know a medium that I can ask my questions to improve myself? What does Emmanuel say? This was a meeting with Chico Xavier and other colleagues in a beautiful setting in the center. And Emmanuel came March 25th, 1960. You allege disbelief in celestial life. For lack of evidence, you can consider adequate. Yet, you travel before the glory of the firmament on a gigantic cosmic mill called Earth. As it turns around itself with immense velocity around the sun and thinking nothing of it. You claim or allege that you don't understand how the radiations of spirit occur. Yet, you keep your balance each day under the sunlight that expands in the immensity of the space at 300,000 kilometers per second without approaching its more intimate structure. You allege that you do not hear the voice of discarnate intelligences. Yet, you live in a kingdom of waves of which the largest broadcasting stations give only infinitesimal portion, transforming in articulate sounds that seems to you loneliness and silence. You allege that no one explains to you the process by which souls are nourished with subtle fluids. Yet, you live in an aerial ocean, nourishing yourself mainly from imponderable resources of nature. You allege that human existence outside of physical matter is unacceptable because it becomes invisible, and on the other hand, you consider so many invisible things real. You allege the transitory materialization of friends who have already crossed the frontier of the grave to being possible, yet, despite notable discoveries in genetics, you are unaware of how you came to be born among carnal forms as much as you ignore the processes through which you develop. However, do not grieve over the lack of mediumistic elements for the operation of good works. Says Emmanuel. Do not depend on information from others for help. We all possess a vast provision of seeds of light, of superior knowledge, and carry the conviction that we are called to serve. What Jesus taught 2 millennia ago has the strength of truth for all centuries, and the message of this or that herald of the gospel to any person's ears is a lesson for all of us. What matters above all is to expand the good, understanding the true good, that the true good will always be the good that we do unto others. Take a few grains of wheat found in the street randomly. You know not whence they came. Nonetheless, you decide to plant them this very day, with respect and love. Soon, although you cannot see them working, the laws of God will make them a vast and beautiful field of wheat for you. Mamma mia, what can I say? But we love you, Emmanuel. Right? Wow. Wow. Many people claim, I've heard it before, but I want the message for me. No, customized to my problem. Who said the questions and answers in the Spirit's book are not for you? They are the book of the spirits. For spirits, us. It's about constitution. We cannot ask a senator to write a law for me. Can you please pass a bill just for me? They're going to say, I can't. Why? Because it has to benefit the whole class. It's a social thing. In the universe, it's not different. So the spirits didn't make all the effort through Kardec's team, and I say team as Kardec, the mediums, the superior spirits, the whole codification team, only for them. The spirits who came through Chico Xavier didn't release these messages only for him. If it were only for Chico, he wouldn't have published them. The publishing is the proof that they said, these seeds are for the world. They are customized to you. They are customized to me. When I read the books by Emmanuel, the novels, 2,000 years ago, 50 years later, Hail Christ, Renunciation, Paul and Stephen, we're almost around Christmas time. These are books that are good to read again. Why? Because those books, in those books we can see us. Recently, neuroscience proved to us, this was year 2014, when they first hand published that when we read novels, we change our brains, and we can even change therapeutically the way we feel about ourselves and others and the relationships. Because that information scientifically is proved that when we read those scenarios, our mirror neurons are putting ourselves there. It can be a catharsis, a therapeutic movement. So Emmanuel did not write those novels just for the sake of telling stories. It's for therapeutic purposes. Yes. Oh, I don't have money for a therapy. Read the books. Andre Louis books. Because in the story we're going to find ourselves. When I see that Emmanuel is having a high position as a senator, and he is envied by somebody, the very Pontius Pilate, because Pontius Pilate has sex addiction. What we're seeing in the news today with Harvey Weinstein and several cases of people who are being accused of, or they're going to be taken to court because of sexual harassment. This is not new in history. It has always happened. And we see constant sexual harassment happening between Pontius Pilate and Livia, the wife of the Roman senator Publius Lentulus. Of course, he doesn't touch her physically per se, but he's constantly harassing her, constantly imposing himself. Then we watch this news and we see these news are not new, because this is a human movement since ancient times. Oh, the world is ending. No, the world's not ending. Because right now, if you do it, everybody's going to know. Back then, nobody knew that Pontius Pilate was doing certain things. So when we read the book 2,000 years ago, we see envy in the book. Emmanuel talks about it in the preface. And he even mentions, I'm writing this book to show that humanity has always been at this level, and morally we haven't progressed that much. Centuries, millennia have passed by. And one day, Chico Xavier saw in one of the meetings a spirit that seemed to dress up like a spirit from Moses' time, which was before Jesus. So he asked Emmanuel, who is that spirit? I see that spirit is illuminated. And he said, yes, you're right. He is illuminated. And he's coming here. And he's coming here after, doing internships, even in a more evolved planets. He came back to the earth and he says that physically the earth was progressing, but morally the progress was not much. So that's why the events of the current time pushing us, saying enough is enough, now we have to make a decision. What do you want? The same old or the new? Because if we want the same old, we won't be able to stay much longer, because the earth is progressing. If we want the new, we'll be invited to stay longer because we're willing to learn. Here, Emmanuel is bringing that excerpt, that all these teachings, they can change not only our vibrations, but they change the imprint of our vibrations in our spiritual brain, thus in our physical brain, giving us a new platform to take action. So when I say, I wish I could be more patient. Okay. If I don't think of myself as patient, if I don't visualize, that's not going to happen. So, what do you want? To be more patient? Visualize yourself patient. Oh, I can't, so it's not going to happen. Because things only happen first in emotions, thoughts, and then ideas and actions. Explains to us Kardec and later Emmanuel in the book Thought and Life. The Mirror of Life, chapter 1. So I need to visualize myself. You want to change the life of your family? Yes, me too. Who doesn't? Visualize harmony. No, but it's not happening. No. But we are architecting harmony with God. We're co-creating. So first, in the thought, I visualize my children doing well. I visualize my partner doing well. I visualize us being friendly and kind and harmonious. And I visualize it, and I visualize it. But what if they don't want? Well, that's their choice, but my choice is harmony. No, but they're constantly, but that's their choice. My choice is to build harmony. So I'm going to visualize it. And I visualize like with color and texture. Like on Sunday when we were in Washington, D.C., in our group session, the Spiritist group of Washington, we were there and we were discussing about the fact that we are these flames, we emit color, texture, so we need to visualize What texture is for you harmony? Harmony is like smooth, fluffy, cozy. Is that how it feels as texture? If we could, in an analogy, what is the vibratory texture? How does it feel? It feels pleasant, it feels smooth, feels fluffy. Because the Spirits told Kardec, we're flames. When in the Spirit's book, chapter 1, we learn about the elements of the universe. You and I are intelligent beings of the universe. And Kardec asked, but can you give us like a visual representation of what we are as spirits? And he said, well, for lack of better words, you're flames. So visualize yourself as a flame. What color are you? Give yourself a color because you are vibrating. Vibrations emit color. Texture. There is an odor to it. What perfume are you emitting spiritually? What texture? When people connect to you, what is it that you are emitting? Oh, I would like people to like me more. Okay, are you emitting likability? No, I'm afraid. Fear is rough. The texture of fear is not smooth. It's spiky. So much so that animals, when they are afraid, they emit, like the porcupine, like the, I forgot the name now of the animal. They emit something. For us, vibratorily, what are we emitting? So Andrea Torres is saying, jasmine is the scent. So think about this. Next time you think about changing vibrations, changing emotions, changing thoughts, visualize yourself as you are. Let's visualize ourselves as we are. A flame. What color would you like to be? What texture would you like to become, to radiate? What scent would you like to emit so people feel around you? And that always is saying blue color, perfume of jasmine. Thank you for sharing, Andrea. It's good just to give us an example. But pick one, meditate on this. Let's feel ourselves. Close your eyes, feel. I am a flame, enveloped by my spiritual body in the human form, connected to the physical. If you're discarnated, you don't have the physical body, good for you, because then you don't need to worry about physical diet, you don't need to worry about your weight. So there's a plus in being discarnated in that regard, right? But for us, in general, incarnates and discarnates, we vibrate. We have color, we have shape, we have odor, and we connect. And according to the law of the mental field, we connect with those that are in the same frequency. So if I want to connect higher, as Mentor Joseph was saying tonight at the Spirit Side of Virginia, higher, there is one login. What's the login? And the password? Spirits of Light login. How to connect? Do the good. That's the password. Right, Sunshine? Sunshine is saying vanilla whipping cream. Mamma mia, that's edible. Sunshine, that is sweet. That's interesting. Let us feel ourselves as vibrating flames. And then we'll understand more about our connections. So if we claim that we don't believe in life beyond this life. Look at the giant cosmos. Like, what is that all for? He says, if we don't understand the radiations of spirits, think about the immensity of the space and everything that is happening. The exchange, even the astronomers talk about magnetic, electric exchange. If we say that we don't hear, we're not mediums, well, how about if we observe how we are articulating ourselves in our conversations? So he's saying, do not grieve if you're not an ostensible medium. You do not depend on information from others to be helped. We all, he doesn't say 1, 2, 3, he says all of us possess a vast provision of seeds of light, of superior knowledge. And we carry the conviction that we were called to serve. Oh, Emmanuel, it's gonna make us cry. Yes, he's encouraging. He's an educator. He's saying, you have a bag of seeds of superior knowledge. Don't worry about the seeds that others are carrying, because you have yours. And he says, you carry the conviction that you are also called to serve, not only XYZ people, you too. No, but who am I, Vanessa? You are a child of God. You are a child of God. You were created to learn to do good. Not only reincarnated, we are created for it. And he says, what Jesus taught in 2 millennia ago is a lesson for all of us. No wonder Paul of Tarsus, no wonder Stephen, in that life, they didn't meet Jesus in person. But look what they've done. Like in this analogy, they walked, found the seeds that others brought in, they planted, and those brought in for them a beautiful field. Harvest for them as well. Friends, where is your bag of superior knowledge, the seeds you are also called to serve? How can I serve more? Shall we? How can I serve more? Let's say hi to everybody here, because we're excited that Jesus is passing by. Jesus is passing by. And when he comes, everything is fine. Right, Carol Correa and Mark Smith? We were there together. Rian and Nico, how are you? Beautiful. Adilson, how are you? Lívia Moraes, how are you, Lívia? La Souza, what a joy to have you here. Karina Alice, how have you been? Sunshine, So Souza, how are you? Nora Brasil. La Souza, you're in Long Island. We love Long Island and our friends in Long Island. Lisa Teles, how are you? Adriana Sanches Monteiro, Tereza Catapano, Raquel Baqueche, Ceisa, our friend, and Rafael Medeiros, there in Monterrey, Mexico. Leia Severo, how have you been? And Paula, beautiful Paula, we were just there together at the center in Virginia. Andrea Torres, Rosalind, Rosa, big hug to you, my friend, and the whole family. Angelita, Were you there at Andrea Bocelli's? Was it good? I'm feeling from you the vibrations of those who were there. Mamma mia. Rita Flor, beautiful hug to you. Patrice Santiago, what a joy. Rudy, super present. John the Rose, we were just there together. Lu Nicoliello, it's cold, but we're keeping it up, right, friends? Daniela de Souza, what a joy. Célia Lancaster, Almirante Baixo, we miss you, friend. And Solange, Merli Rincapi, how are you? What a joy. Bianca Braga, what a message, friend. João, João Lopes, what a joy. So friends, today talking about losing mediumship, suspending mediumship, being upset like, oh my gosh, I don't receive messages anymore, or I wish I could. How will I improve if I don't? I need a spirit to give me a message, one for me. And you know, one day it happened to Divaldo. Joanna used to write messages through him, and one day he said, you know, it's funny because you keep giving these messages to everybody. Can you write a message for me? And she smiled very kindly and said, but who said those are not for you? You're the one that hands to other people. Of course, she was being kind. But what she meant is exactly what Emmanuel is saying. That seed of superior knowledge doesn't come for one person. It is for all of us. All of us. And Jesus, when he comes, he's the sun of our lives. He doesn't shine only on one person. He shines onto all of us. Right? All of us. So you're feeling it? Jesus is passing by. Jesus is passing by. And when he comes, everything is fine. Sadness is gone and happiness arrives. And what's going to happen tomorrow? Chapter 25. It's about imperfections. No, don't go away. Come back. I'll give you a teaser, huh? Because these messages are all consoling. Okay? In face of the service yet to be done, let us avoid the darkness of frustrated hours. You know those days you're like, I wish I were better. I wish. It's almost like a Christmas list of wishes. Christmas wishes. I wish. And Emmanuel says, you declare yourself unable to serve. However, it is by trying to serve that you promote yourself to the gallery of trust. I am so grateful. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you, Jesus, for sending Emmanuel. Thank you, Chico Xavier. Thank you, friends. And let's not forget, the sun is shining for all of us until tomorrow, God willing.